I've read some ideas of 2027, this quantum computing, quantum AI will be fully on the scene.
The false prophet in the Antichrist, there's going to be an image of the beast that speaks and does miracles and all of that. You believe that could be AI generated?
And she packs out concert halls with people just dancing and singing along with her like she's some rock star, but she's a hologram. ChatGPT told me that within a week it could reach Einstein-level intelligence. If you take the current population of the world, that's over 8 billion people. How is one man going to be able to control commerce so precisely? Well, AI, and especially quantum AI, changes the whole dynamic.
You're having a conversation with ChatGPT that is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I believe we're no longer in the last hour or the last minute. I think we're in the last seconds.
Hey, before we get started today, I just wanted to say my team told me something that surprised me, and that is about half of you guys watching on YouTube, you are not subscribed to this channel. So if you do me a favor for just a minute, just look down and just click the subscribe button and the like button. Now, when you click the subscribe button, it just means you're going to get all the information that we put out. You're not going to miss information that could encourage you and equip you to live in these end times. Also, when you like it, it just means the more people find out about it. I want you to tell people about us, first of all, but also when you like it, it helps us tremendously. Would you take just a second and hit the subscribe and the like button so that all of you guys are subscribed and all of you guys are telling other people about us? That's going to be a huge blessing. Welcome to the Tipping Point Show. I'm Jimmy Evans. Today's show is about the Beast System Unleashed. This is one of the most important shows I've ever done. I hope you'll stay tuned for the entire program. It is absolutely unbelievable what we're going to be talking about today. I have joining me today Dr. Brad Reeves, and he's written a powerful new book talking about AI, quantum computing, and the Antichrist. You definitely want to stay tuned for this show today because you're going to learn about things happening right now you need to know. People ask me all the time if I believe that AI is the Antichrist. I tell them no. The Antichrist is going to be a real human. But without a doubt, artificial intelligence is creating the global system of control the Antichrist will use to rule the world. And it's happening right now before our eyes. For the first time in world history, we're witnessing the most powerful tool ever created, AI and quantum computing, that Satan will use to rule the world during the tribulation. Dr. Brad Reeves is a pastor, author, and prophetic voice. In addition to his ministry background, he also has experience in law enforcement. He's a senior pastor of Crossway Christian Fellowship in Hagerstown, Maryland, and founder of Coming Soon Ministries. He's joining me today to talk about his new book, The Beast System Unleashed. Pastor, it's great to have you join me today.
Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for having me on.
Well, this book, The Beast System Unleashed, and I said in the introduction to the show, this is a phenomenal book, and I read every word of this book. AI, the Antichrist, and the End Times. I want everybody listening right now, you do the best job of anyone I've ever seen explaining computing, just general computing. Quantum computing is where we're going, where it's headed. You have, throughout your book here, you're having a conversation with ChatGPT that is absolutely terrifying. And it's a true conversation. And you'll talk some about that. But just in simple terms, Pastor, how would you explain the beast system? We're talking about the beast system, talking about, how there is coming a system of world rule and how that relates to AI and quantum computing. Just kind of explain that to people.
Well, the beast system is really a framework for world control by the Antichrist, as you said. And we know that after the rapture, this period that's going to enter the earth called the 7-year tribulation is a time when the Antichrist is going to know nearly everything about everyone that's happening on the earth. He's going to have this pseudo-godlike persona, and he's going to accomplish this counterfeit omniscience through the beast system. And what we are witnessing today, we're not in the beast system, but we are looking at the framework of the beast system being assembled right around us. We know that when the Antichrist comes and assumes control of the entire globe, all planets, 10 kingdoms, he is going to have this system in place to require compliance. And with the advent of quantum AI coming onto the scene right now as you and I speak, we have a great understanding that AI is going to play a critical role, because Revelation 13 talks about how no man will be able to buy or sell without a mark. Well, that's if you take the current population of the world, we know that believers will be raptured off the earth. But if you take the current population of the world, that's over 8 billion people. How is one man going to be able to control commerce so precisely? Well, AI, and especially quantum AI, changes the whole dynamic, because now, through AI programming and surveillance, every man, woman, and child will be assigned a mark and be able to be tracked, and their purchases and the limitations of their purchases will be controlled through the system.
So talk about the difference between computing and quantum computing. And you said quantum computing is already a reality. Is that correct?
Quantum computing is a reality. Microsoft has, at the time I wrote this book, had released the Majorna 1 chip. Now we have Willow, that is a chip that's come out. These are quantum chips. Traditional computing uses ones and zeros. The computer screen you and I are looking at right now is nothing more than a formulation of ones and zeros, one being an affirmative response, zero being a negative response. And so the computer, billions of times a second, decide whether it is a correct or incorrect problem. And so it has to go through this over and over again in order to formulate what we see on our screen, or whether we're watching a cat on a Roomba running around through a room, or if we're writing an email or anything like that. Or if we're talking about supercomputers solving very complex problems regarding protein molecules, for instance, in medical science. These things take massive amounts of computing power. And this is why you see all these warehouses being built up all over the world, right? Because they're storing data. Data is money now. Quantum computing takes ones and zeros and makes it obsolete. And look, I'm not really an expert at an expert level of this, but I've tried to fully understand it on a layman's terms. So hopefully, while people like you and I, who are just comfortable enough to deal with computers, much less understand them, can have a conversation about them. Quantum computing takes ones and zeros and makes them fluid. So in quantum computing, a 1 or a 0 could be both and or either or at the same time. Sounds a little complicated when you say that, because you're trying to say, how can all this happen? Well, the best way I've been able to image it is to use the illustration of a great big labyrinth. And a computer that's using ones and zeros would have to go through the maze and try to figure out the proper destination. And every time it finds an incorrect destination, it has to go all the way back to the beginning and figure out a way to get to the end again. Quantum computing takes that and uses all pathways, all problem solving all at once in real time. So instead of supercomputers taking years to decipher major problems, quantum computers can do it in a matter of seconds.
Wow. And see, you really explain that well in your book, but this is what's happening right now as we speak. The AI and the computing is about to accelerate exponentially. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And if you take a look at how our world was changed with cell phones 20 years ago, quantum AI is going to do that in a matter of months with the advent of quantum AI. What we're seeing right now with AI, with chat boxes and, video manipulation and stuff is nothing compared to what AI is going to be able to do very soon.
Well, in China right now, they have a surveillance state and they have social credit scores, and they use their video feeds from all over China. They can use facial recognition. I heard a true story of a man in China who jaywalked through facial recognition. That this is just seamless. They found out who he was. They went into his bank account and charged him a fine without his knowledge, charged him a fine, and also hit his social credit score. And in China, if your social credit score falls to a certain level, you can't travel, you can't buy or sell, you have all kinds of penalties. This quantum AI is going to make that world possible on a worldwide scale. Is that right?
And it is going to be on a worldwide scale under the beast system. So they're going to know every transaction live, and even your thoughts. There is advances happening with the Internet of Things, which is basically everything is going to be connected to the Internet, where they're even making smart dust now that can float around in the room and be able to track, hear, understand what's going on in a room. This is no longer science fiction. When you and I were teaching about this 20 years ago, we're trying to hypothesize how all this is going to come about.
Yeah.
And we were making up, well, this could happen or this can happen. And we're talking about things that seemed very futuristic, very science fiction-like. Today, we're seeing this not only become reality, it is reality. And for the believer, as we look at this, we can look at this and say, oh my, this is very scary. But as a believer and as a follower of Jesus Christ, who understands that he is coming back soon for his church, I'm encouraged because it reminds us how close we really are to all of this coming together and the Lord coming back for his church.
Absolutely. That it ought to give us hope. It shouldn't frighten you. It ought to give you hope. But you talk about this is different from any other generation that's gone before us. Daniel 12, Daniel was told to seal the book up until the end, and travel would increase and knowledge would increase. And now we're seeing an absolute explosion of knowledge. You talk about quantum computing. There's never been anything like this in the history of the
It's absolutely incredible, the ability that we have through computing right now with artificial intelligence. I frequently I interact with artificial intelligence all the time. Many people do; they just don't realize it. But I use a platform like ChatGPT, and a lot of times when I write stuff, I will have the AI do an editing for me and check over it, or even give me feedback based upon it. Knows that I'm a premillennialist pastor who, it knows everything about me. So it'll spit back. As soon as I upload a document, it'll spit it back in less than a second and say, here are the changes that I recommend. And here's another thing I recently wrote about and posted on my Substack and my blog is there's a popular videos going out right now where you have like maybe a cat standing at a Ring doorbell and it's crying and it's pawing at the door, and there's a foreboding tornado in the background, and the cat is trying to get in the house, and all of a sudden the cat gets sucked away and drawn into the tornado. And the first time I saw that, I said, oh my, that poor cat, that poor dog or whatever. And then I started realizing this is computer generated. These are AI videos. The deceptive nature of artificial intelligence, Jimmy, is so deceiving. I mean, it's just beyond what we are going to be able to comprehend, that we're not going to be able to decipher reality anymore, because AI has such a massive deceptive nature. And Paul even talked, I think it was 1 Thessalonians 5, and Jesus talked about this in Matthew 24, that that the saints themselves are going to be deceived. So we have a window here as believers to really ground ourselves in the Word, because when AI begins to preach sermons, as it already has in some areas, and manipulate scriptures, if you're not grounded in the Word, you're going to be easily led astray by some of these lies.
Oh, it is very deceptive. And in your book, you were talking to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT told you the danger of AI was deception. The power will be deception. Now, you ask, this is on page 60 of your book, you ask ChatGPT, what does society look like using quantum AI computing, and how does human achievement change if AI becomes superior to human reasoning and intelligence, which it will? Is then it gives you this answer, but here's part of the answer. So this is ChatGPT saying this now. There are three possible outcomes if quantum computing takes over and AI becomes more intelligent. Humans merge with AI. It's called the cyborg path. In other words, it says some may choose to augment their brains with AI implants, quantum computing interfaces, and enhanced cognition. And so we just basically become AI, enhanced. The second one, AI rules and humans become passive. This is called the AI overlord path. If AI runs governments, economies, and scientific research, humans may become irrelevant in shaping the future. Humans could live in AI-designed utopias, but without the need for work, thought, or intervention. Society may descend into purposelessness, with people becoming entertainment-driven AI dependence. And then the last one is AI and humans exist in conflict. That's called the resistance path. This is AI generated. This is ChatGPT answering this question for you. Well, this is Judgment Day, Terminator Judgment Day. And so it's saying here, but basically when you're having these conversations with AI, it's telling you it is the beast system. Is that right?